Welcome to Saturday Night Live. Here's your host, Tony StCyr.
Welcome to Saturday Night Live. I'm your host, Tony StCyr. Now, I know you're thinking, that's a pretty unique name, right? Well, there's not too many of us out there. It's French, and I'm also an auctioneer. So since I'm also a licensed auctioneer with a French name, that makes me a smooth talker and a fast talker. So you have to listen real close. One question I get asked a lot because of my last name is, are you related to Jordan StCyr, the contemporary gospel singer? My answer, I have no idea. But hey, it's possible. Maybe one day I'll get to ask him in person. Or better yet, maybe he'll come on the show. This is an exciting moment for us because this is our pilot episode, our very first show of our very first season. So we want to make this one count. Hopefully you'll stick around and be a part of this amazing journey with us. Saturday Night Live is going to be something different. You might be used to the more traditional religious programming you see on networks like Now or other faith-based channels, but we're going to be bringing you a faith-based variety show unlike anything you've ever seen. Our goal is to make it fun, entertaining, and uplifting. We want the world to know that you can be a Christian and still have fun and be happy. Some church folks look like they've been eating persimmons and drinking lemon juice. That is not what we're about here on Saturday Night Live. For those of you who don't know me, let me introduce myself a little bit. I've been in broadcasting for years, mostly in and around the Atlanta, Georgia area. Over the years, I've hosted hundreds of television shows, ministered in nearly 1,000 churches across the southeastern United States, voiced countless radio commercials, and appeared in countless television ads. Oh, and here's a fun fact. I once accepted the Station of the Year award on live TV at the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville, Tennessee. I've even appeared in a couple of faith-based movies, though, let's be real, I was not the star. Now, I'm not saying all this to brag. I just want to give you a little background so you know what to expect from this show. It's going to be fun. Saturday Night Live is going to be many things to many people, so we might, by all means, save some. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 22. Tonight, we have an amazing lineup planned for you. First up on our Believer's Voice segment, I'll be interviewing a special guest who is no stranger to the silver screen. He's appeared in some major movies like The Patriot, Sweet Home Alabama, and even the recent remake of The Three Stooges, which was filmed in the Atlanta area. He's been involved in the film industry for a long time, and it all started when he grew up in his parents' small-town theater. You don't want to miss his inspiring story. Then we'll lighten things up with our Gospel Giggle segment. If you can find the studio, we'll be joined by an hilarious guest you might recognize, Billy Hill. Whether you've seen him on stage during performances or caught him on TikTok, you know he's always good for a laugh. Finally, we'll wrap things up with some amazing music during our Singer Showcase. Tonight, we're featuring one of my favorite gospel groups from the North Georgia area, But God. They'll be performing an incredible song that will bless you thoroughly. You don't want to miss it. So stick around. We've got a power-packed show lined up for you tonight, and it's just getting started. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes with our first guest of the evening. Stay don't stray.
Introducing the new Liberty Hill Publishing book, Child of Lust by Tony StCyr, based on a true story. When a 16-year-old Southern Baptist girl from Fayetteville, Georgia, came up pregnant in 1958, the parents tried desperately to figure out a way to save their family's reputation and their soiled daughter's honor. Threats of violence were levied against the alleged father as anger ran rampant through the family. Was it rape or consensual? What was to be done with the unborn child? Would it be hidden, aborted, or given up for adoption? Was her mistake an isolated incident or a pattern of whorish behavior? Only Marilyn knows the answers, and she's not telling. Child of Lust is available at bookstores and online. Purchase it today.
Welcome back to Saturday Night Live. I'm your host, Tony StCyr, and this is our Believer's Voice segment. And joining me today during our Believer's Voice segment is the gentleman I introduced earlier, John Gilbert. How you doing, Mr. Gilbert?
I'm doing good,
It's
Tony.
been a while.
It has been a while.
Yes. Now, John and I were together down in Henry County on television and doing movies and things like that. So, John, I invited you on because, you know, you're an interesting guest and a good friend of mine, and I want you to tell the folks a little bit about your background.
Oh, well, I'm interesting if nothing else. Yeah, Tony, I was born and raised in Columbus, Georgia, and my dad was a theater manager, and I grew up in a drive-in theater, and I remember one time they were playing Toby Tyler 10 Weeks at the Circus, and I remember I was old enough to realize, I said, those aren't really circus people, they're actors. I believe I could do that, and later on I went on to do that. So I worked at WRBL TV in Columbus, radio and TV, and learned a lot about television production, radio production, and anyway, I tried to save an old theater in Columbus, and unfortunately, I was about the only one that wanted it saved. But so after that fell through, my wife and I moved to the Atlanta area, and anyway, my wife Angie, she gave me 3 beautiful daughters, and unfortunately, she passed away to cancer, and I've since remarried. But to Melanie, and she's a wonderful, wonderful wife. And so went to work for you for about 8 years, and we had some great times together. And so that's a little of my background.
Now, the rest is history, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Now, you've got an interesting resume I want you to share with people. And you've, because of your love for the theater, you wound up being in some movies.
Oh, yeah. That's true. I was in the last one I believe I was in was The Patriot with Mel Gibson, and it's kind of funny. Since I'm a cameraman as well, I know where that camera's aimed. So I'm in the tavern scene.
Yes, tavern scene.
Tavern scene, and so I see where the camera is, and I go dee 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 dee, and so I'm there. I was in Sweet Home Alabama, and a funny story. My sister was at the theater, and about 11:30 at night, she called me. She said, "I didn't know you were in Sweet Home Alabama." I said, "Yeah." She said, "I'm sitting there and watching, and all of a sudden there's my brother walking across the screen." She said, "I'm by myself. There's a guy like 2 chairs down." She grabs it and goes, "That's my brother." And he's like, "Okay."
Well, one thing I'd like for you to share with people, because, you know, I've been an extra in a movie, and you've actually starred in a movie that we produced on the South Side as Ebenezer Scrooge.
You know,
It fits your personality, being Scrooge. But I believe people would like to know how to get involved in theater or in movies as an extra, because that's where a lot of people start.
It is. Well, and basically just go to a search engine, Extra Casting Atlanta, and you'll get several sites pop up that you can put your name. They'll want a picture of you, a recent picture. I mean, I could put one when I was 21 years old and was a good-looking young fella, but they'd be real surprised when I showed up. So, but anyway, go online. You can find Extra Castings around the Atlanta area or whatever area you happen to be in, and contact them.
And you get casting calls. They'll call and they'll, set you up for a casting call. That's how I wound up being in. It was called Georgia Justice, but then they changed it to Stand Your Ground. I was in that. I was on camera about 8 seconds. Didn't have a speaking part, but it was fun.
7 seconds longer than me.
But anyway, tell folks how me and you got together. That was an interesting story. You can leave out the brownie part. The brownies.
Oh, that's a good story.
That's a good story.
But I wanted to do a little newscast. I've got a lot of camera equipment and whatnot. So I decided to do a little newscast, and since my background is also in news. And so unfortunately, the guy that was in charge of putting the tapes and everything in didn't tell me what to do, and so he cut off part of my newscast. And then the tape ran out, and anyway, it didn't turn out the best. But I was bringing a tape up to the head end, and I wish I could remember the gentleman's name, but he said, "John," he said, "we've seen your work, and you do really good work." And he said, "There's a fellow named Tony StCyr who has a radio station, and he's also trying to do a television. And I think he could probably use your help." And so, in fact, he called, while I was standing there, he called Tony and handed the phone for me. I'm talking to Tony. I don't know who I'm talking to. And Tony says, "Well, I'll tell you what, let's get together tomorrow for lunch," which we were always doing lunch. And it's obvious that I like to do lunch.
Mexican too, usually.
Oh,
what
yeah.
We did, yeah.
So anyway, he got us. I wish I could remember his name. But he got us together, and I told him what all I could do, and I said, and you said if you can do all that, you can really be an asset to us. So anyway, on my first anniversary, I turned to Tony. I said, Tony, can I do everything I said I could do? He said, yeah, and then some. So,
And he was a great asset, and we stayed together, like you said, 8 years before I sold the station and moved on, and you stayed on even after that.
just a little while. The people that bought the station were real estate people, and they were really good at real estate, but they didn't
Not
really,
real good.
didn't really know what they were doing in television. But anyway, they went to a different format, and I wished them luck back then.
Now, I know you love God. You are of the Church of Latter-day Saints, and I have told people that you, to me, were the most Christian-like person that I'd ever met, and you actually changed my opinion on Latter-day Saints. I didn't know any, so obviously all I heard was 3 or 4 or 5 wives and things like that. And now you got to come back when people ask you, can you have more than one wife?
Oh yeah, I do. In fact, one of the preachers on the shows, he asked me one time. He says, "Is it true you can have more than one wife?" I said, "Yeah, but your first one better be dead."
That's true. That applies to all of them, doesn't it?
Because my first one died.
Yeah. But anyway, your love for God and country helped you spawn something. Tell the people about that.
Well, my first wife and I, we went to the Renaissance Festival. And as we were driving home, I said, what does the English Renaissance have to do with Georgia? We couldn't find too many connections. So I said, hey, why don't we do this? Only it's July 4th, 1776. And word has just come from Philadelphia that the Declaration of Independence has been signed. And so we knocked the idea around. She said, of all the nutty ideas you've ever had, this is probably the best one. So unfortunately, she passed away, but we went ahead and we did the Georgia Independence Day Festival for several years. In fact, I'm still pushing it, trying to keep it going. But the thing that I like most about the festival is that we do a closing ceremony, and we do Benjamin Franklin's call for prayer. And what most people don't realize is that our Constitution started with a prayer. Benjamin Franklin called for prayer. The Constitutional Congress was stopped, and they called the Reverend James Campbell. Called him. He offered a prayer over the Constitution, and they said the prayer was such a wonderful prayer. They said that when he was over, said it looked like George Washington's face was glowing.
Wow!
It was that powerful.
Wow!
And
you're really a history bum when it comes to the independence fight and the battles and all that took place.
Because I love this country because, like I say, it was founded on religious freedom. Or even though Obama says it wasn't, it was. I'm sorry to say that, but
well, we're still clinging to our guns and our God and Bible thumping. So
Well, I believe this country, our Constitution, was inspired of God.
Absolutely, it had to be for this nation to last this long. Now, one thing I'd like to ask you. When we were doing television, we got this idea for the Christmas Carol. And we brought in a company to actually produce it and shoot it. And you were picked for Ebenezer Scrooge.
Mr. Scrooge, every idiot that goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled in his own plum pudding and buried with the stake of holly through his heart. He should.
And we're actually going to show you a little clip of John playing Ebenezer Scrooge. So check this out.
Why show me this if I am past all hope? Good Spirit, your nature intercedes for me. You pity me. Assure me that I may change the shadows of the things you have shown me by an altered life. I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it the whole year. I will live in the past and the present and the future. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. I will not shut out the lessons that they teach. Tell me, oh tell me that I may sponge away the writing on the stone. They're here. They're not torn down rings and all. They're here. And I'm here. The shadows of the things that would have been may be changed. They will be. I know they will be. I don't know what day of the month it is. I don't know how long I've been amongst the spirits. I don't know anything. I'm as light as a feather. I'm as happy as an angel. I'm as merry as a schoolboy. I'm as giddy as a drunken man. A Merry Christmas to all the world. A Merry Christmas to you, Teapot. Oh, Merry Christmas to everyone. Oh, excuse me. What is it today?
Huh?
What is today, my fine fellow?
Today is Christmas Day.
Christmas Day. I haven't missed it. The spirits have done it all in one night. Of course they can. They can do whatever they like. Hello, my fine fellow.
Hello.
Do you know the poultry shop in the next street but one at the corner?
I sure hope I do.
An intelligent boy, a remarkable boy. Do you know if they've sold the prize turkey? Not the little one, the big prize turkey.
The one as big as me?
A delightful boy. It's a pleasure to talk to him. Yes, my buck.
It's hanging there now.
It is good. Go and buy it.
Walker?
No, I'm in earnest. Run, go and buy it. Tell them to take it to Bob Cratchit's in Campbelltown. I'll give you a shilling. Come back with a man in less than 10 minutes and I'll give you half a crown.
Can I get a shilling? Anybody bid a shilling? Anybody bid a shilling? Young man, would you bid a shilling on this beautiful specimen of a lamp? No shilling? Blimey cheapskates. Bid a shilling, bid a shilling, bid a shilling, sir.
Merry Christmas to you, sir.
Merry Christmas to you, sir. Bid a pound? Anybody bid a pound? Bid a pound? Bid a pound? Now that's your talent.
Well, Tony,
that's you.
That's probably one of the highlights of my life was that little movie at SPN that we did, about an hour long. But we were pretty true to the book, as close as we could be. And I just still think that's just one of the finest productions that we ever did.
It was very good. And also now you've done Scrooge on stage. You actually went out of stage.
The Henry Players, I played Scrooge there. I played Scrooge with the Front Porch Players. That's my favorite character because you gotta look at this. Scrooge could be every man.
Oh yeah.
And we've all got our bad points and whatever, but Scrooge became a wonderful person, and we can all, with Jesus Christ, we can all become wonderful people.
Be converted. That's right. Well, folks, we've been interviewing. I call Dr. John Gilbert. He don't really have a doctorate, but
I go to the doctor a lot.
You go to the doctor a lot, but we've been with him now. And I tell you what, you also wrote some books. Is there any way they can buy those from you?
Amazon. One is called The Great Locomotive Caper. And then my love of Christmas Carol, I wrote A Christmas Carol Part 2. We find out what happens to Scrooge. He actually goes to jail.
Oh, wow.
Because his cohorts have him arrested because they think he's gone crazy.
He's gone crazy.
And but anyway, that's available on Amazon, A Christmas Carol Part 2.
Wow. Well, we appreciate you watching this segment of The Believer's Voice. We will be back with more Saturday Night Life right after this.
From its early beginnings, Eagle Carports has quickly established itself as an innovative leader in the metal building industry. Utilizing a team of building professionals, Eagle manufactures a wide range of affordable products that not only look great, they're built with the highest of quality materials to last a lifetime. Whether your project is for personal or commercial use, let an Eagle representative assist you today.
Now it's time for our gospel giggle.
Well, we had a special guest. Wait a minute. Is somebody trying to call in? Is that Cousin Billy?
How y'all doing out there?
You're supposed to be in here with us. What happened?
Well, yeah, but you told me to go to the green room, and I looked all over this studio for a green room, and I found a brown room and a gray room, and I found a white room. I never found a green room.
Well, Billy, green is the name of a room where people come and sit while they're waiting to come on the show.
Well, why you tell me that? I was looking for a green room.
Well, it looks like you're sitting at my desk in my office.
How can you tell, cuz, by this ugly wallpaper behind me?
Well, Billy, that happens to be a custom paint job on that wall. That is not wallpaper.
Well, I think you need to get your money back, because this looks like something Billy Jr. would have done in kindergarten.
Oh, Billy, I know you didn't drive all the way over here from Alabama to criticize my office. I want to ask you what you bought Ethel for Christmas.
I ain't got her nothing. She didn't use what I bought her last year.
Well, what'd you get her last year?
Oh, it's the prettiest piece of property you could lay your eyes on, and even overlooking a nice lake.
Now, Billy, I know Ethel. That sounds like something she would have appreciated.
Well, she loved it at first till she found out it was a cemetery plot.
Well, Billy, I wouldn't have wanted to use that gift either.
I told her she didn't have to use it right off. I actually bought it so I could slip in there and go fishing. I was going to go ahead and get her a tombstone this year, but since she didn't use the cemetery plot, I didn't need to.
Well, you need to buy something else, even if you give it to her late.
Well, you're right, cuz. I guess I opened one of them in there Temu emails. You know about Temu, right? Well, they got some good stuff cheap. As a matter of fact, I actually wrote a little verse of a song to that. You know that "Thank You, Lord, for Your Blessings on Me" song? Yeah. Well, the second verse says, I know I'm not wealthy, like you and the rest of everybody in the family. And these clothes, they're not new. That's from going to Goodwill a lot. And I don't have much money, but thank God for Temu. You like that?
Well, there goes our ratings. Billy Hill, ladies and gentlemen.
Good night, everybody.
See you, Billy.
Billy Hill out.
All right, we'll be back right after this. Please don't go away because of that.
A nosebleed can occur at any time, having us holding our head back, grabbing for tissues, or whatever we can get our hands on. But now, there's a better, more effective way to stop a nosebleed. Introducing the Nosebleed Arrest Implement, created by inventor Tony StCyr. This device was created as a sanitary way to stop nosebleeds in a matter of seconds. Users simply place the device under their top lip, between the back of their lip and their gum. This will produce pressure against the blood vessel beneath the nose to reduce blood flow and allow the blood to clot quickly and naturally. This handy product is ideal for use while on the go. Various sizes are possible to suit all users, including children. First aid kits will not be complete without this device. Want to learn more on how you can help stop nosebleeds quickly and safely? Be the first to contact us now for manufacturing, retail, wholesale, distribution, or licensing opportunities.
Now it's time for our Singers Showcase.
Every time I've tried to make it on my own, every time I've tried to stand, I start to fall. All those lonely roads that I have traveled on, there was Jesus. When the life I built came crashing to the ground, when the friends I had were nowhere to be found, I couldn't see it then, but I can see it now. There was Jesus. In the waiting, in the searching, in the healing and the hurting, like a blessing buried in the broken pieces. Every minute, every moment, where I've been and where I'm going, even when I didn't know it or couldn't see it, there was Jesus. For this man who needs amazing kind of grace, for forgiveness at a price I couldn't pay. I'm not perfect, so I thank God every day. There was Jesus. There was Jesus. In the waiting, in the searching, in the healing and the hurting, like a blessing buried in the broken pieces. Every minute, every moment, where I've been and where I'm going, even when I didn't know it or couldn't see it. There was Jesus on the mountains, in the valleys. There was Jesus in the shadows of the alleys. There was Jesus in the fire, in the flood. There was Jesus, always is and always was. No one ever walked alone. You're always there. In the waiting, in the searching, in the healing and the hurting, like a blessing buried in the broken pieces. Every minute, every moment, where I've been and where I'm going, even when I didn't know it or couldn't see it. There was Jesus. There was Jesus. There was Jesus. There was Jesus.
Hey, folks, we just come out of the Christmas season, and that is one of the most joyous and happiest time of the year for many people. But for some people, it's a very sad time. A lot of people don't realize that there's more suicides committed in the months of December and January than there are the entire other 10 months of the year. So for a lot of people, this is not a very holly jolly season. So I want you to think about the story of Elizabeth in the Bible. We know about Mary and her virgin birth and how miraculous it was. But understand that Elizabeth's miraculous conception was also and is still considered a miracle. When Mary went to Elizabeth, she was a mother who was expecting out of wedlock. And I think that the angel sent Mary to Elizabeth so Elizabeth could be that motherly figure, that compassionate person that could understand her situation. I mean, here you have Joseph who's trying to put her away, and those types of things still go on. So what I want to encourage you to do, even though Christmas is over, try to be that Elizabeth in somebody's life, somebody that will take somebody in and comfort them and help them during their tragic and unexpected situation. Till next time, I'm Tony StCyr.